All right. Recently, I have had a new kazoo echo. Can you guys hear that? That's cute. Okay, no. So recently, these 83 millionaires from 7 countries released an open letter to their governments and calling for permanent tax increase on them.
What?
Yes. So they're saying tax us, tax us, tax us.
Let them speak for themselves.
Where? From what countries?
7 different countries.
Oh.
Okay, so
For the rest of the
I will read this letter to you as quickly as I can because it's a little long. Okay?
Can you do it in an Indian accent?
I can't. Here we go.
Because I know it's an Indian. One of them's an
Why is
Indian.
it always Indian?
It's gotta be
accent
Indian
with you?
millionaire.
Why
It's
is
gotta
it
be Indian millionaire. I know there's an Indian millionaire in there.
So it's titled Millionaires for Humanity, sign-on letter. To our fellow global citizens, as COVID-19 strikes the world, millionaires like us have a critical role to play in healing our world. No, we are not the ones caring for the sick in intensive care wards. We are not driving the ambulances that will bring the ill to hospitals. We are not restocking grocery store shelves or delivering food door to door, but we do have money, lots of it. Money that is desperately needed now and will continue to be needed in the years ahead of us as our world recovers from this crisis. Today, we, the undersigned millionaires, ask our governments to raise taxes on people like us immediately, substantially, permanently. The impact of this crisis will last for decades. It will push 500 million more people into poverty. Hundreds of millions of people will lose their jobs as businesses close, some permanently. Already, there are nearly 1 billion children out of school, many with no access to the resources they need to continue their learning. And of course, the absence of hospital beds, protective masks, and ventilators is a painful daily reminder of the inadequate investment made in public health system across the world. The problems caused by and revealed by COVID-19 can't be solved with charity, no matter how generous. Government leaders must take the responsibility for raising the funds we need and spending them fairly. We can ensure we adequately fund our health systems, schools, and security through a permanent tax increase on the wealthiest people on the planet, people like us. We owe a huge debt to the people working on the front lines of this global battle. Most essential workers are grossly underpaid for the burden they carry. At the vanguard of this fight, we are our healthcare workers. At the vanguard of this fight are our healthcare workers, 70% of whom are women. They confront the deadly virus each day at work, while bearing the majority of responsibility for unpaid work at home. The risks these brave people willingly embrace every day in order to care for the rest of us requires us to establish a new, real commitment to each other and to what that really means. Our interconnectedness has never been more clear. We must rebalance our world before it's too late. There will not be another chance to get this right. Unlike tens of millions of people around the world, we do not have to worry about losing our jobs, our homes, or our ability to support our families. We are not fighting on the front lines of this emergency, and we are much less likely to be its victims. So please, tax us, tax us, tax us. It is the right choice. It is the only choice. Humanity is more important than our money.
Yeah, tax them.
Tax them.
Tax them. Tax them. No.
That's actually really well written. I was kind of like, I don't know about taxes.
That also
That's a great argument.
That also tells me these millionaires actually trust their government.
True.
Because there's a lot of millionaires that are like, don't tax me, because once you take the money away from me, once it gets funneled into the government system, who knows who's going to receive it?
Right, because the Pentagon lost $3 trillion. There's a debt. Can you imagine how much money that is? So right before 9/11, there was a huge fucking what do you call it? Like a committee that was on review, and they were pushing the Pentagon to disclose how they fucking just lost $3 trillion. And then 9/11 happened, and it got buried under the rug. So.
Maybe that's why they did 9/11.
That's what some people say.
That's the conspiracy.
That's what some people say.
I'm all for taxes if I saw our money being spent on social services, and we don't see that in America. Unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption. So taxing the rich might not necessarily be the best thing here, you know? Well, maybe they come from a government where the government's doing good,
These are 7 different countries. I don't have a list of the countries themselves, but for example, one of the signers is Walt Disney Company heiress Harris, Abigail Disney, and also Tim Disney. And so a lot of these millionaires, it seems to be that they have like inherited a lot of these.
Oh, it's just rich guilt then.
Trust fund babies.
These guys are fucking trust fund babies.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
I wish I had rich guilt, dude.
So like for example, like Ben and Jerry's, like they also signed.
Ben and Jerry signed?
No, but
Jerry, just Jerry.
They can't agree on this one.
It was actually just Jerry who signed it that they included in this article. But yeah, and then like 4 weddings and a funeral director, Richard Curtis, venture capitalist William Janeway, a movie director Amy Ziegering.
I would go after the the super billionaires and everyone who's profited off of the hurt of like the people. So for example, the Sackler family, they're the ones that basically created like Oxy and like all the painkillers, and they profited off of so many American deaths, right? And they're just mega fucking rich, and no one knows of them and how much damage they've done to our people and maybe to some of your relatives or whatever. They knew that the drugs were very harmful and very addictive, but they ended up doubling the doses because they wanted to make more sales. There's just all kinds of fucked up shit like that. And I'm like, when it comes to people like that, if we could target them individually and tax them for what they've done and profited off, I think that's pretty fair, right? But also to just make this blanket statement of like, hey, if you just tax people more, then all of a sudden we can use that money to make things better. I don't necessarily think that, because, man, there's just so much corruption in our government and how they spend and how they like.
It's all about the systems in place.
Yeah.
Like in California, we have some of the highest taxes in America, and we have some of the most fucked up everything.
School system,
roads, and everything. We have some of the most
homeless problem.
So like, it definitely more taxes isn't the answer, but having better systems and figuring out ways of
Better accountability.
Yeah,
everyone.
That's the answer.
Because I think I'm all for more taxes if I can see that it's actually being used for something good.
Yeah, well, recently, like, they got some huge tax breaks, like the wealthy, and the middle class is really suffering from that. But this one person named Morris Pearl, who's a managing director at, or he was former managing director at BlackRock, which is an investment managing company, he said, he's like, I'm wealthier than I was before the pandemic, and I don't even work for a living. There are millions of people who aren't able to earn anything, and they don't have earnings from a stock portfolio.
Give me money then.
Right, so that's why he's part of the signers.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
Yeah, when they say millionaires too, there's a huge difference between like, well, I'm technically a millionaire, but I'm still working on it. Like I don't have any cash. Like everything is built. I own assets. Right, which is like I have things that generate income, but they're not going into my pocket. They're going right back into paying people to build my businesses. I'm a beginner millionaire. Now, trust fund babies are people who have old money. They have money that works like money's working itself, right? Yeah. So they're invested in stocks or whatever. They have what's called very passive income, where every month they might get $100,000 just in their bank account because their great grandpa had a massive orange grove that, did really well. So there's such a huge disparity, right? Like even in California, right? Technically, a lot of people are millionaires because their homes are
worth a lot,
valued at $1 million, and they might have a lot of things that if you sell it all, they have $1 million. So it's difficult to really gauge this. I would say like maybe someone who has 8 figures and above, maybe, right? Or can we not just net worth, but how about liquid? Like what that means is how about people who have a lot of cash in their bank and they're not doing anything with it? That might be a different way of looking at it versus just blanketing like millionaires, because it's a huge difference. There's, hey, I'm taking private jets everywhere I go, millionaires, and then there's, I'm still flying economy, but I'm flying a lot. So
well,
yeah.
Just like the system said though, like not even just like, hey, why is California being taxed so high, but you know, our systems aren't like receiving those funds or the positive growth from it. There's also the systems of like even the taxation, right? Like there's all these really, really wealthy people that because they're connected to like the real estate or commercial real estate industry in some ways, they can like mitigate their taxes to the point where they're not paying anything for the whole year.
Yeah, they were saying that,
right?
So 2 years ago, there was the Massive Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, massive is not part of the title. Anyway, so that went into effect, and they're saying that the 400 richest U.S. families now pay a lower overall tax rate than the middle class, which is the first time that that's happened in 100 years. And so by comparison, back in 1970, the richest Americans paid more than 50% of their income tax, which is twice as much as working class individuals.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
The rich are getting richer during this whole thing because I don't know, you know, like a lot of people are investing into stocks and all that, and then their, you know, their values are going high because of that. But also, man, this is so complicated.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos made like, I feel like 50 billion or something just over this thing. But it's also like, I also can't, like, I guess, throw shade at him because I'm like, during this time, we're all also contributing to that. You know, like I don't know anyone that doesn't order anything on Amazon. That's true. So it's not like he's exploiting people. Like we're literally voting him to be richer. Like all of us are. We're all contributing to his wealth growing.
It's just so convenient.
But in the system that he can play in the loopholes, he can pretty much abuse the system in a way where he doesn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So like everybody is
when you're mega
championing him,
rich,
totally choosing to support, but at the same time, like a percentage of everything that we even buy something on Amazon, I gotta like pay my income tax on that money to have it be clean to use. You know what I'm saying? So for the person to receive this money, if he doesn't have to pay proportionate taxes, then our system is, it's just not gonna work over time, which clearly is based off of exactly what she just said. If back in the 70s, the 400 richest families were paying 50% of the actual taxes, and now they're paying less than the middle class, we're fucked.
I think it even goes up to like people that are within the 5%, because if you think about it, right, like a lot of millionaires don't have the money and resources to build a different accounting firm or even get sources like offshore accounts. What like all these guys do is they say, should I pay 200 million to the US or should I pay, you know, 50 million to this firm and then move my money offshore? I'm gonna do the 50 million. Why should I pay the extra 200 million, right? So that's kind of how they're thinking about it. It's almost like this: if you're super rich, right?
Sounds like greed.
If you're, it is
you're playing the game.
It's a game. So like, let's say you have a Lambo and you're fucking rich, and you know that you're in a rush, right? So you just drive up and there's no parking. You just fucking say, fuck it, I'll just leave my car here because the ticket's only $40. Versus me wasting my time. It's entitled. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's the perspective that a lot of people have. Taxing them more might not also be the solution, because here's the thing. He's like, all right, I'm gonna send my money offshore because it's 50 mil compared to paying taxes to America for 200 mil. He goes, okay, well, guess what? I might move my whole company offshore, and then I'm under foreign district jurisdiction.
So don't even pay the 50 million at all now.
Right. But America can't control if you sell to the country, because unless you're like North Korea and there's this crazy trade or whatever, right? Technically, we're a free trade. Like this country's like you could do it. They can't say, oh, your products, you bought it from Amazon, so now you're gonna get taxed 20 times more to make this fair. So that's where the complication comes down, because it's almost like this: if the governments don't bend, then they're gonna completely leave out of America, and then they're not gonna be, you know, but they can still sell to America. So it's kind of this weird catch-22. Yeah.
Hello guys, thank you guys so much for watching all of our videos, and I know it's been a million years in the making, but we finally got Just Kidding News merch.
Yep.
So make sure you go down to the store below and you can get a piece of JK News, and thank you guys for supporting.
Thank you.
Bye bye.